Okay, good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo, Furst here, Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi. We're learning our second shir now, Hilchos Pesach, top on your base, Sif Yud. Don't forget Yeshiva Shaykh Tsama Nafshi is in the Beit Knesset of Chanik Yeshivas on Rehov Zikron Yaakov number 6, not too far from the central bus station in Yerushalyim, HaKodesh. Okay, Yisrael, you like to read a bit for Sif Yud? Go ahead. Everyone have the spot?
Can't find the yud.
Thank you.
Okay, wie she'einu shoyse yayin, v'pnei she'mazika. One who doesn't drink wine because it damages him.
Thank you.
Or so no, he doesn't like it. Tzorech l'chok atzmo v'lishtos. L'kaya mitzvahs arba koises. He is to push himself to drink and to fulfill the commandment of the 4 cups of wine.
Well, you have a somewhat of a surprising halakha here. Usually, if you're not happy with doing something, you might think you don't have to do it. But here, even if a case where a person is somewhat ill from drinking wine, or he really doesn't like the wine at all, he has to push himself in order to drink the wine, in order that he should fulfill the mitzvah of 4 koises. Somewhat of a surprising halakha. Let's see the explanations of the Mishna Berura in Sifkat and Lamed Hey.
Mazika, because it damages him. Rotzaloma. Shemitzta'e b'shtiyasai. He gets pain from drinking. V'chay b'rasha, he gets a headache from it.
Right, so he's by drinking the wine, he's going to suffer somewhat, and he's going to have a let's say headache.
It's not included in this.
Not included in this is where he would fall. He would be so ill that he'd fall into bed. Right? If a person's going to fall into bed, so a person's not obligated to make himself sick over it. Okay, falling into bed, right? That's already a person who's already considered to be what we call a choila she'ein bo sakana. He's a person who's ill, but he's not in danger, but he's still ill. He's in bed. He's confined to his bed. He can't move around. He can't function. Right? But here we're talking about he's going to be distressed. It's tired. He's going to be distressed over the drinking, and he may even get a headache. Right? He may even get a headache, but it's not going to incapacitate him. Right? In that case, he's going to have to push himself in order to drink the wine.
Nowadays the wines are made very light.
Oh, so we'll discuss some of these things. Very good. You have different options. In the earlier days, where wine, where you had the opportunity to dilute the wine, also somewhat, that could be done. We'll discuss about these things. Well, let's learn the Mishna first. Okay, he should push himself to mekayim the mitzvah of daled koises. Go ahead.
Okay, Kaya mitzvah, to fulfill the mitzvah, Masha ein kain b'Shabbosos v'Yom Tovim, which is not the halach is not so by Shabbos and Yom Tov. Yochol lishmaya kiddush me'acha v'yotzevo. He's able to hear kiddush from somebody else and yotze with the person's kiddush.
Means on a regular, points like this. On a regular Shabbos, so if the wine's difficult for him to drink, so he's not obligated to push himself to make Kiddush and Yontif as well. Why? Because someone else could be moitzi him, right, in Kiddush. You can be moitzi him for Shabbos or for Yontif. But this is a special halacha of Daled Koisos. One of the Daled Koisos, the first one happens to be the Kos of Kiddush, right? But you have to drink 4 cups of wine. That's our own personal obligation for each and every one of us, women, children if they're of age, for education in the mitzvah, and also for every man. He's obligated to drink 4 cups of wine, just like you're obligated to put on tefillin every morning. You can't put on tefillin for me. I have to put on my own tefillin on my own arm and head, right? So likewise, my body, my mouth has to swallow 4 cups of wine on Pesach. So you can't have somebody moitzi you. So therefore, even a person who be distressed of the wine, and normally says, well, look, on Shabbos I never drink wine. It bothers me. And someone's moitzing me. Why can't I do that on Pesach? He said, no, because that's a mitzvah of Kiddush. So someone else can be motzah you with your obligation of Kiddush, right? Because you don't have to actually drink it. But here you have to drink 4 cups of wine.
They don't discuss the mitzvah over here, right?
We'll be getting to it. Yeah. We'll be getting. Hold on.
So how can Kiddush go to somebody else? I mean, it's a Kiddush, right? Don't you have to...
Because what's Kiddush? Kiddush is basically that you have to sanctify the Shabbos by saying that you recognize the holiness of Shabbos and you're making a public announcement about its holiness. You have to do that while you're holding a cup of wine, right? So someone else can do that for you. You could just like the Chazor Sashatz when you listen to the Shmoneh Esrei being repeated, right? They can include you in that and you can be yotzu with that, listening to the Chazor Sashatz, okay? Likewise with Kiddush. But here, it's not that you're making any specific announcement, right, about the holiness of Passover. You are obligated to drink 4 cups of wine, just like on Sukkot. You're obligated to take 4, the Dalet meaning, the Esrog, the Lulav, Hadas, and the Rabin. Right? You're obligated, no one else can do that for you. You have to sit in the Sukkah. You have to listen to a shofar. Someone else can blow the shofar for you, right? But you have to listen, you have to be able to listen to the shofar. If you can't listen to it, then you don't have a mitzvah. Yeah. Let's see the rest of the Mishnah. Go again, Lamed Vav. You have to mekayim the mitzvahs of Daled Koisos.
Lamed Vav, okay. What kind of mitzvahs? We read this.
The first part, right?
Aber Hacha, Chal, Chiyuv, Hashti, Al Kol Olam. Here the Chiyuv falls on each and everybody.
That's right. The chiyuv is kal on everybody. Everyone has their own chiyuv of what? Lamed Zayin Arba Kosos.
Abakosis. Yakol Magso Hativ is able to drink it well.
Well, I mean, that means to like dilute it. We'll talk about dilution if it's hard for a person to drink wine.
Oh, he's able to dilute it. Achein be'inon shiehei adain ru lekiddush.
Still has to be fit for Kiddush. I mean, there's certain parameters, criteria, which you can add liquids, either grape juice or water to the wine to dilute it. And but there are limits as how much dilution you can add to it. So it still has to be minimally fit to make Kiddush on. Okay?
Well, you can make Kiddush on straight grape juice though, no?
Right. But however, grape juice is a little bit different when you're talking about Kiddush for Shabbos or as regular Yontif as Daled Kosos, because the basic premise of the obligation of the 4 kossos is derech cheres. People who are free people drink wine. Right? They drink wine. They can go to bars and drink and they can enjoy themselves. An Eved, a slave, he doesn't have option of drinking wine.
Derek
right?
Harris?
It's called derech cheres. We'll see that.
Derek Eretz.
Derech, it's
is path.
Right.
Eretz is land, right?
Cheres is freedom.
Cheres.
Cheres is freedom. I'll show you where that phrase comes up if I find it quickly, yes. If not, I'll show it to you another time. That phrase appears the same reason why you have to do a saber. It goes hand in hand. The reason for the reclining is derech cheres. That's the way people who are free and independent, that's the way they eat and drink. Right? But a person who's a slave doesn't have that option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand the concept now.
Okay.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Let's continue.
Okay.
Right, you see, if you look there in Sifkat and Yud Tes, that's where you see the word cheres.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, let's finish this Mishnah. So it has to be still fit for Kiddush, right? V'gam yochel l'kach yain smukim. That's basically raisin wine. or chamarbidin or chamardin, some substitute of for wine or grape juice. So that's if the person's going to have these difficulties. So he has the option of taking grape juice, right? Or using the dilution, right? If you use the dilution of wine with grape juice, that's even better. If you make it 51% wine and 49% grape juice, so that's considered as if you're actually drinking wine.
That's how the Nafshi used to be like that.
Yeah, right, exactly. And
What's yain samukimi?
raisin wine. You would make the wine from raisins, which would be a little bit less strong. You can also, as Yisrael mentioned, you have these light wines, right? They're only 3, 4, 5% wine. Then they're also sweetened up. It's, as long as it's fit for kiddush. Because when you can make kiddush on it, usually the bottles say that it's great guffin, it's fit for kiddush. So then you can take those, which is advisable.
Grape juice?
It's better to take wine than grape juice. Because grape juice you don't really have their favorites. People.
My boys told me that the wine with the gas is good. It said it doesn't bother you.
Interesting.
Because they told me. Never tried it out.
The full strength or the
full strength, but it's with gas. It doesn't, with the bubbles.
Yeah. You have some rosés.
Yeah.
Lightly.
So you could push down 4 glasses.
Yeah. Again, if you take a minimal shear, right? It's really not that much.
Mm-hmm.
Minimal shear is you need to have a revis, and I'm sorry, 1 second. Surgeon 1 second. See if they bring it down.
How much are the reeds today?
Revis,
I think it was 3.3 or 3.4 ounces.
basically, right? 3.3, 3.4.
How much is the glass?
Grams
A
grams.
typical glass of wine, sorry, Rabbi, a pour at a bar is between 5 and 7
A
ounces.
plastic cup is 150.
No, that's
10.
10.
More.
That's 10.
Yeah. She's taking a third of a cup, like a third of this cup, is it?
No, this is maybe good. At least 2 revis, maybe more.
Yeah, it's almost 3.
Yeah, revis is about 98. I think it was about according to Moshe 93, 98, 100 milliliters or so.
Right.
So it's a plastic cup. It's like a 3/4 of the cup.
3/4, yeah, about that. Yeah,
A plastic cup.
yeah. Could even be less. which
But
is
you
not
got to
much
make.
that much.
I'm sorry. Some of those plastic cups are only 8 ounce.
No, you have.
In which case, there's only 2.
You're talking ounces.
I'm
not
talking about 10 ounce, and you would get 3. Yeah, and I'm speaking ounce. He's speaking milliliter.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
That's weird. That's because the Americans couldn't make the change like we do.
Not a problem.
We're not smart enough. We couldn't hang.
Yeah.
Other Americans have changed to the metric system.
They tried. It didn't go.
I mean, the inner city Schwarzes, they couldn't hang, man. We couldn't get the masses to understand the difference. It was a failed experiment.
Right. Okay. So if you take a minimal shear, and again, if you can handle it, there are several options. Let's see next halacha. Yud Aleph in the Mechaber.
To continue?
Maybe you want to read a bit?
Where are we?
In Yud Aleph in the Mechaber up on top.
Okay. Blurry. Okay. Mitzvah lachazor achar. Yayin adom. Okay. Yotzin biyayin.
Okay, what's that? So it's a mitzvah to seek after red wine. In the brackets it says im eino lavon meshubek memenu. If the white wine is not, unless the white wine is not better than it. So first choice is a red wine. Everything else being equal, take a red wine. Okay. However, if the white wine happens to be better, it's really a much better grade of wine than the red wine, so then you go after the white wine.
Would that include champagne?
Conceivably, yeah.
If you can make Kiddush on it. It says that's if you can make Kiddush on it.
So it'd be better to take a nice bottle of champagne if you didn't have a nice bottle of red wine than to use a red wine that's not nice.
Could be. We'll see the Mishnah Berurah in a minute. Now, also, there's another. We'll maybe get to it, but I'll mention it here now. You're really supposed to drink the cup in like one shot, really minimally 2 shots, right? So if it's going to be the champagne, sometimes it tells if you can handle the bubbles going down quick, that's one thing. If you can't, then you might be
Okay.
you know, save the champagne for a little bit during the Suda. You want to have a little something to make the Suda the next morning if you want to have a champagne.
So you shouldn't think in your brain, well, geez, this is a nicer thing than the red wine. I should upgrade. Just use the red wine, and because I'm trying to decide when you make that call. Well, gee, this isn't really nice, so we should use that instead.
As long as you drink full glasses, that's the whole problem. And you can drink if it's so good. So we'll have to learn how to put him again.
Okay, so if you ran out of red wine
Yeah.
in the middle and you still had to go, so if I only had white wine at that point, I start with the top of the line white wine and then.
That's right.
Okay, I understand.
Right. In all cases, you'll fulfill your obligation, but it's a mitzvah. It's a special fulfillment to do red. We'll see. The Mishnah will explain what's so important about red. Take a look at the Mishnah Berurah in Lamed Ches. Okay, read that. Is it too small for you, the print?
Yayin Adom, Dichsiv al Tereh Yayin Ki Yisadam, Alma Daha'ad Mimus Ma'ala L'chashivus.
So it says, there's a pasuk that says Al Tereh Yain Ki Yisadam. You shouldn't be seeing wine in terms of drinking. You shouldn't be drinking wine because it's going to yisadim. It'll make a person red, right? You see from this that the redness is an advantage and it is it's praiseworthy. Praiseworthy that they should have red wine. Or eat another reason.
V'od zecher ladam shehaya paro shochet b'nei Yisrael.
Okay. Also, it's a remembrance of blood, right? That Paro, when we were in our servitude, our slavery to Paro in Egypt, right? Paro would kill the Jewish people, and they would slaughter us, and there would be blood. So we remember the sadness of the time of our slavery in Mitzrayim by looking at the red wine.
Uvim komos shemtsuyin hagoyim l'ha'alil alilos shekarim nimnaim milikach yayin adom.
This is said that we drink blood.
Right, they said that the Goyim would make up libels, known as blood libels, that they would make up false stories that the Jews used blood to put into their matzahs. They would drink blood on
still
the night
do
of
it.
Yeah, they still do it.
Really?
And they would even kill their own children, kill infants and leave a dead infant on the somewhere, and they'd say who killed this infant?
They need the
The
blood.
Jews, and they'd start a pogrom. They'd start a massacre.
They'll murder their own children.
Yeah, no, okay.
They put out a rumor last year
Yeah.
about us using blood to make matzah.
Really?
Oh yeah, last year. I remember
So
it.
it doesn't die down
Oh,
there.
Jerusalem Post.
You have Ku Klux Klan over there, right? And, so that, right? That's where Ku Klux Klan.
Is this the Arabs?
No, the Arabs. The Arab countries were
Oh, yeah.
put out a report.
Yeah,
Not surprisingly enough. Al Jazeera, right?
I can't remember that detail. I don't know.
Ku Klux Klan.
there is some option. There is some option that even if you you get white wine, there's even something that they mention that you should add maybe a little bit of red wine to color it red a little bit. it's okay to do.
What if you literally have nothing?
You have raisins.
Well, then you
Can you drink water?
water will not be sufficient. No, what we call is Chamar Medina. Chamar Medina is as such. Chamar means it literally means the wine, Medina of the region. What's the wine of the region? Every region has certain foliage, vegetation, fruit and vegetable products, which are in abundance, right? For example, why is vodka made of from wheat, right? Because they have a lot of wheat, so they have abundance of wheat. So what do you do with all? You say, what are we going to do with all this wheat? So some guy had a brilliant idea. Let's ferment it and make it into drink. Wine, beer, hops, and barley. You have so much barley, right? All these things, like there's certain things which become unusable because of the abundance of the product. So then they use it to do other things. They make it into jams, they preserve it in some other ways. Another way of using the products is by making it into liquid, right? You distill it, ferment it, distill it. It becomes beer or becomes wine or some type like that. And you can make beer out of almost anything, right? The basic process is basically the same. You just maybe have to change the recipe somewhat, right?
Is vodka beer?
No, vodka is liquor. Vodka is hard liquor. It's distilled. Distillation is where you take you boil out basically the alcohols and then condense it into a concentrated alcoholic beverage. Beer is not distilled. Beer is simply brewed, right?
Yeah, if you leave it 10-15, just to take care of something.
Okay. Good. Thank you for telling me. So, in different regions, different things became not just popular but available. They were basically an abundance, based on an abundance of this product. So they became what we call Chamar Medina, the wine of the region. It's not really wine, right? Wine is classically and strictly made from grapes, right? but you have all these other types of beverages which were considered to be the region's own special beverage that everyone drank because it was simply available in abundance. So that's something which would be an accepted substitute. B'di'evid, not litkatila. Litkatila you should take wine, but that would be an accepted substitute for wine if a person for some reason doesn't have the wine, right? So that depends really on the region that you live in and what's considered to be the Chamar Medina. So there's a lot of discussion about what's considered Chamar Medina.
What's Chamar Medina?
Chamar literally means wine, Medina of the region.
Wine of the
I
okay.
mean, it's not really wine, it's the wine of the region. Wine meaning Chamar, meaning the beverage of the... Chamar is also another expression for beverage. It's the regional beverage. Like you can go from place to place in the world and you'll find different regions there, at least classically, now everything with trade and commerce, everything's kind of mixed up. You can get Coca-Cola all over the world, right? But
And what was the term for region?
Medina.
Medina, that's
Medina,
right. When we say the Medina in a generic way, what are we talking
The
about?
country. So,
Our country
yeah.
or
Medina means Medina is Eretz Israel. Medina of the Jewish state. That's what they call it, right? The Jewish state.
That's what they say.
So if you don't have any wine at all, let's say one is simply he doesn't have wine. So it's a question whether you could take tea or coffee or beer or what other substitutes might be. Like in America, I think some consider orange juice to be. People drink orange juice like water. It's like like all over the place. You have it for breakfast. You have it. It's like Coca-Cola may or may not be. There are separate specific requirements for it. Something which you would, if you had an important guest coming over, you would serve him that, right? So whether or not Coca-Cola sufficiently meets those requirements is a subject for discussion. Maybe orange juice, yes. A beer, probably a beer, yeah. But I mean, now with everything so available, it's kind of the criteria has become a little bit unclear, because in previous times you know the region you're in and you know what they would be drinking, and that would be it, right? So if you can't get wine, so you ask, what do people drink around here? Oh, they tequila, they drink rum. Yeah. So I'm not suggesting you drink a revis of rum 4 times. That's really yeah.
Okay, but you want to drink the Hamar Medina.
Right. But they may have some things. They might have, you have to inquire. But now again, like, you can go into a supermarket any place in the world and get the basic same products. I'm not talking about those people. They have to be limited in terms of kashrus, of course, but most of the basic products are available for everybody. Okay, good. So maybe we'll stop here, and we'll continue on to tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem.